Have you felt it lately? That thick, almost eerie stillness hanging in the air, like the calm before a storm that never quite arrives. It's more than just a quiet moment. It's as if the world is holding its breath. Something deep and invisible is shifting underneath the surface of our everyday lives. The atmosphere has changed. Even time itself feels strange, as if it's bending in unfamiliar ways, stretching and snapping back without warning. Most people shrug it off. They chalk it up to stress, or say it's just their imagination playing tricks on them. But there's a deeper part of you that senses the truth. It's ancient, instinctual, and it knows this isn't just ordinary tension. Something vast has been set into motion, something beyond human control. The Pleiadians have finally spoken. After long silence, their message has arrived, and it comes with an intensity that cannot be ignored. It's not softened by kindness or wrapped in mystery. It's clear, direct, and it carries a warning that humanity has never heard before. What's unfolding isn't the fall of a single nation or the crash of one economy. It's the unraveling of everything. Every system we've built, every structure we've relied on, governments, financial empires, technological networks, even the unseen energetic frameworks that hold human life in balance, they're all beginning to fracture. This isn't some future event on the horizon. It's already happening, quietly, subtly, like tiny cracks forming under the surface of a frozen lake, spreading slowly until the ice gives way. Most people won't see it until it's too late. They'll hold tight to routines, to what feels familiar, to the illusion of safety, right up until the ground collapses beneath them. They'll dismiss the signs. They'll laugh at the idea that the world they've always known could fall apart overnight. But no amount of denial will stop what's already been set in motion. The Pleiadians have seen this kind of moment before. On distant planets, in ancient civilizations long forgotten, they've watched worlds face this same tipping point. Some awakened, rising into incredible new levels of consciousness. Others, blind to the signs, were consumed by their own downfall. They reach out now not to frighten us, but to help those who are ready to listen. They're not here to rescue us. They're offering something more powerful, a mirror and a choice. Wake up or be carried away by the tide. The forces in motion are far bigger than any government or global institution. They're larger than any technology, economy, or ideology we've ever created. This isn't a singular disaster waiting to strike. It's a slow, unstoppable unraveling. Bit by bit, things are giving way. Trust is breaking. Foundations are weakening. The illusion of permanence is fading, and something new is stirring beneath it all. If you're hearing this now, some part of you already remembers why you chose to be alive at this time. You didn't come here just to watch the old world fall apart. You came to witness it, yes, but also to help create what comes next. But the time to prepare is slipping away. What you do now, how you think, how you feel, how you act, will shape the path you walk when the veil is finally torn open. So stay with me. What I'm about to share might change how you see everything, not just the world outside of you, but the world within you. The warning has already been given. The collapse is underway, and now is the time to awaken. What's happening isn't visible to most. It's not starting with explosions or war. It's not broadcasted with headlines or alerts. This collapse is happening quietly, in the hidden layers of our planet and our energy. Beneath our feet, the Earth's magnetic fields are shifting. These fields, once stable and reliable, used to guide the natural harmony of our planet and support the systems we've built on top of it. But now, they're distorting. As their patterns twist and weaken, they begin to erode the very infrastructure we depend on. Roads, buildings, power grids, digital networks, they're all being compromised in ways we can't yet fully detect. But like a tiny crack in a dam, it only takes enough pressure for the whole thing to give way in an instant. At the same time, emotional instability is rising. It's sweeping through humanity like wildfire, and it's not random. Just like the Earth has magnetic fields, it also has emotional ones, currents of energy that carry the emotional tone of the collective, and those currents have become chaotic. Fear, anger, confusion, grief. They're crashing through us in huge waves, affecting how people think, how they feel, and how they treat each other. Trust is breaking down. Communities that once felt strong and united are now split by even the smallest differences. It's like the air itself is filled with a thick tension that no one can quite explain. When emotional fields reach this level of turbulence, rational thought begins to weaken. People act out of impulse instead of clarity. They react instead of reflect. The social order begins to fracture, not because of some outside force, but because the collective emotional foundation that holds it together is disintegrating. All of this sets the stage for collapse without a single weapon needing to be fired. And there's something even deeper going on, something almost no one sees. The Earth itself has a natural frequency, a resonance like a heartbeat, a rhythm that visionaries and wise leaders once unknowingly attuned to. When this resonance was pure, it offered clarity and wisdom to those in power. But now it's being corrupted, twisted, polluted by frequencies that don't belong. As this distortion grows, leaders lose their ability to see clearly. They make short-sighted, erratic decisions. What we're witnessing isn't just human error. It's a breakdown in the very energetic field that once supported wisdom and foresight. Leadership, across all levels, governments, corporations, communities, is slowly drifting toward collapse. It's not entirely their fault. They're being influenced by forces they don't understand, pulled by currents they cannot see. And all the while, another ancient system is faltering: the ley lines. These energetic pathways have crisscrossed the Earth for thousands of years, connecting sacred sites, spiritual power centers, and natural energy hubs. They're like arteries, feeding life and balance to the world. But now, they're reversing. In many places, the energy is draining instead of flowing. Cities that once pulsed with vitality now feel hollow, strange, or disconnected. Sacred sites feel less alive. The energy they once radiated is weakening. This slow energy loss makes everything feel more fragile. Systems that once seemed solid, transportation, communication, governance, are becoming brittle. They could fall apart with just a nudge. And as all this unfolds, electronic systems, the very backbone of our modern life, are beginning to behave strangely. Devices glitch without reason. Internet connections drop in places once known for stability. Satellites wobble. Planes report anomalies. These aren't isolated technical issues. They're signs of deeper energetic interference. The forces that once allowed electronics to function smoothly are being disturbed. And as this grows, our communications, navigation, banking systems, all of it, will become less reliable. When these failures start happening together at the wrong moment, they will accelerate the collapse faster than anyone can stop it. This breakdown is already here. It's not some distant future, it's the invisible present. Most won't recognize it until the systems they trust fall apart before their eyes. Because it doesn't wear a familiar face and it doesn't announce itself with chaos, many will go on pretending everything is fine. Until it isn't. From the perspective of the Pleiadians, what's happening isn't just a human problem. It's not only political, social, or economic. It's cosmic. This is a planetary event, part of a greater shift in energy that's affecting everything on Earth. The systems we've known, our governments, healthcare, education, finance, technology, were all built on a much heavier, denser frequency. At one time, they matched the energy of Earth. They were like skin that fit perfectly. But now, Earth is being bathed in new frequencies, lighter, faster, more expansive energies coming from beyond our solar system. These galactic currents are flowing in like rivers of light, meant to lift consciousness into its next evolutionary stage. The old structures, built on fear, control, and scarcity, simply can't exist in this higher frequency. They are breaking apart. not because of failure, but because they no longer match the world that is emerging. To make things even more significant, we are reaching the close of a grand cosmic cycle, one that's taken nearly 26,000 years to complete. This cycle is like the deep breath of the galaxy, and Earth has been moving through its phases like seasons in the great cosmic year. Now we are at the end of that cycle, and with all endings, there must be a clearing, a release, to make way for something new. From this higher view, the collapse isn't a punishment. It's not a catastrophe in the traditional sense. It's a natural shedding. Just like a tree lets go of old bark to grow, the Earth is releasing systems that have become too small, too limiting, too out of tune with where life is heading. No political solution or human invention can prevent this. It's too big. It's part of something universal, something woven into the design of life itself. And in the heart of it all, you are being called to remember who you are and why you came here. Not to fear the fall of the old, but to be one of the lights guiding others into the new. There's something deeply woven into the very fabric of the cosmos, something that's being stirred, unraveled, and rewritten. You can feel it in the air, sense it in the collective heartbeat of humanity. One of the clearest, most painful signs of this monumental shift is the fracturing of our shared consciousness. There was once a time when humanity moved in a somewhat unified rhythm, guided by common hopes, shared stories, and mutual struggles. That thread, the one that bound us together, is snapping. The global mind is splitting, unraveling into isolated pockets of belief where people seem to live in completely different realities. What was once a collective sense of truth now looks like a shattered mirror, with each piece reflecting a version of the world that contradicts the others. From the Pleiadian perspective, what we're witnessing is more than confusion. It's not just ideological chaos or social discord. It's the profound splitting of consciousness, a signal that the era we've known is reaching its final, irreversible moments. Once the shared mind of a species fractures this deeply, there's no amount of debate, political reform, or even collective goodwill that can put the pieces back together. The fracture itself demands that the entire structure fall apart. Only from the ashes of this breakdown can a new, unified consciousness begin to emerge. This is not destruction for the sake of chaos, but rather the sacred dismantling of an age that has run its course. There's another powerful force pushing all of this forward, and it isn't human in origin. It's the immense pressure of galactic realignment, a cosmic tide that is constantly shifting. Galaxies, stars, planets, and even the dimensions of reality themselves are in motion, realigning in accordance with patterns far older and more intelligent than we can fully understand. Earth is being swept into a new alignment that calls for more authenticity, deeper resonance with universal laws, and a return to truth. The artificial structures humanity has clung to, systems of control, forced hierarchies, and the illusion of separation, are simply unable to withstand this cosmic pressure. They were never in harmony with the larger currents of the universe, and now that dissonance is being exposed. What's happening is not accidental. The clash between what is artificial and what is natural has reached its boiling point. The force of realignment is dissolving anything that lacks authenticity. Structures built on domination, manipulation, or illusion are collapsing under the sheer weight of universal truth. This is not punishment. It is correction, a return to alignment with the deeper wisdom of the cosmos. Perhaps the most startling revelation shared by the Pleiadians is this: Earth's current timeline is nearing its natural end. Every reality exists within a framework, a kind of invisible grid that holds space for the experiences of that world. But like all living things, even timelines have lifespans. Earth's present grid has served its purpose. It has offered growth, challenge, and the full range of human experience. But it has reached its final chapter. It is not ending because it was wrong or because it failed. It's ending because it has fulfilled its mission. Imagine it like a beautiful sand mandala, intricate, sacred, temporary. When the artwork is complete, It must be gently swept away to make room for something new. Earth's current timeline is that mandala. It is being swept aside, not in destruction, but in reverence. A new reality is forming, one that will align more closely with galactic frequencies and truths. This change is not only unstoppable, it is also holy. It is the birth of a new era. As this collapse deepens, the first systems to falter will not be physical. It is not buildings or technologies that will fall first. It is the mind. The greatest threat to most people in the coming shift will not be external chaos, but the psychological traps lying quietly within their own thought patterns. One of the most dangerous of these traps is called normalcy bias. It is the deeply ingrained tendency in humans to believe that tomorrow will look just like today, no matter how much evidence screams otherwise, even as the world shakes, as systems unravel, and as signs of change emerge from every direction. Many will hold tightly to the illusion that things will soon return to normal. They will brush off the warnings, explain away the instability, and insist that life will go back to how it used to be. But it won't. And this refusal to see what's truly unfolding will leave them vulnerable, caught off guard when the ground finally gives way beneath their feet. Fueling this blindness is a relentless stream of manufactured crises. Every day, the media landscape bombards the mind with fear, threats, and distraction. While some of these events are real, many are exaggerated, distorted, or even fabricated to keep people in a state of panic. When the mind is consumed by countless small emergencies, it becomes impossible to see the massive change looming on the horizon. Energy is drained, focus is shattered. The soul becomes reactive instead of reflective. In this state of distraction, people miss the subtle signs of deeper transformation. They chase shadows while the real shift unfolds quietly in the background, hidden from view until it is too late. Alongside fear, there is another quiet trap: addiction to constant stimulation. Society has been meticulously engineered to keep people distracted. Flashing screens, endless scrolling, fast-paced entertainment. These are not just habits. They are forms of hypnosis. They train the brain to avoid silence, to resist stillness, to reject the voice of the inner self. Many no longer know how to sit with themselves. They have forgotten how to listen to their own soul's quiet guidance. When the world begins to break down, this addiction to stimulation will leave people disoriented and powerless. Their attention, already fragmented, will be too weak to respond with clarity or wisdom. But perhaps the most dangerous trap of all is the illusion of false light. As fear rises, people will become desperate for comfort. They will reach for anything that promises safety or hope. And this desperation makes them vulnerable to deception. Smooth voices will offer promises of rescue without effort. Messages will surface telling people that everything will be fine, that no action is needed, that higher powers will fix everything for them. These comforting lies will sound spiritual, even enlightened, but they are designed to pacify, not awaken. They will encourage sleep, not preparation. And those who fall under their spell will drift into a deep spiritual slumber, unaware and unready when the true challenges begin. Woven into all of these traps is another subtle danger: digital hypnosis. Every scroll, every like, every flashing headline draws people deeper into emotional numbness. The endless exposure to images of pain, fear, and conflict begins to dull the heart. The soul becomes desensitized. People stop reacting with urgency to real danger because every emergency starts to look like just another post. This emotional flatness is like a soft poison. It doesn't kill the body, but it paralyzes the spirit. By the time many realize they've been trapped, their ability to awaken may have already withered. Ultimately, it won't be outside disasters that break people. It will be their inability to see clearly. The collapse won't pause for anyone to catch up, and those who are mentally unprepared will be swept away long before they even understand what is happening. Still, if any doubt remains about whether this collapse is real, one need only look at the silent preparations of the elite. while the world is told that everything is under control. Those in power are making quiet, deliberate moves that tell a very different story. Take, for instance, the wave of CEO resignations. Across industries, tech, finance, retail, leaders who once built vast empires are stepping down, often without explanation. On the surface, it looks like career changes, but for those paying attention, it's a clear signal. They see what's coming. They are exiting before the storm hits. Their departures are not random. They are coordinated responses to the knowledge that the old world is crumbling. Meanwhile, powerful individuals are buying up land, but not just any land. These purchases are targeted, focused on ancient energetic centers, places where Earth's natural power flows strongest. These areas are not chosen for profit, but for survival. The elites understand that when the artificial systems fail, it will be these sacred places that offer real stability. Quietly, without public announcement, they are fencing off these lands and preparing them to serve as future sanctuaries. Below the surface, another layer of preparation is unfolding. Underground facilities are being expanded at a rapid pace. Governments and corporations are investing in advanced shelters, self-sufficient ecosystems designed to function independently of the collapsing world above. These are not relics of the Cold War. They are modern sanctuaries equipped with their own power, water, and food systems. Their construction speaks volumes. The elites are not preparing for a brief disruption. They are getting ready for a long, deep transformation. Even their investments reveal the truth. More and more, they are directing resources into energy-independent communities. These small, off-grid settlements are designed to survive without relying on traditional infrastructure. Solar energy, clean water systems, and food production are being built from the ground up. The elites are no longer betting on the survival of cities or global markets. They are retreating to the roots, because they know that what's coming cannot be stopped. It can only be endured. Perhaps the most chilling sign, though, is the sharp rise in encrypted communications among global elites. Satellite phones, coded messages, closed-door meetings. It's all increasing. Behind the curtain, they are exchanging information, planning responses, and organizing survival strategies. They are no longer trying to prevent the collapse. They're simply trying to survive it. Their silence speaks louder than words. They know the systems are falling, and they are preparing not to save them, but to escape from them. So which systems will fall first? It won't be a dramatic single moment of collapse. Instead, it will unfold as a cascade of failures, each triggering the next. It will begin with the collapse of trust. Media institutions, governments, global organizations, once held together by belief, will crumble as the public loses faith. This erosion will be rapid. Overnight, the cracks will become too large to ignore. Competing narratives will confuse the masses. Institutions that once commanded authority will become hollow echoes of themselves. As trust vanishes, the supply chains that keep life running will start to fail. Not gradually, but suddenly. Food and water, the most basic necessities, will become scarce. The shelves will empty. The trucks will stop. Communities will be thrown into desperation, unable to predict where the next meal or drink will come from. The infrastructure that once seemed sturdy will break like glass under pressure. Soon after, communication systems will falter. Silent cyberattacks will fragment the internet. At first, the disruptions will seem minor, but quickly, regions will become cut off. The flow of information will slow. People will find themselves isolated, unable to reach loved ones or access help. Confusion will deepen. And as communication dies, so too will connection. Following closely behind will be the collapse of energy. The power grids we depend on will begin to fail. Blackouts will become widespread and unpredictable. Some areas will go dark for days, others for weeks. Nothing will function as it once did. The world we knew will dissolve piece by piece until what remains is something entirely unfamiliar, yet deeply, strangely sacred. The national power grid, once a proud symbol of stability and unity, is heading toward a dramatic collapse. What was once a seamless flow of energy connecting homes, cities, and industries will begin to fall apart, breaking into fragmented systems, each one desperately clinging to whatever energy it can manage to hold on to. In some areas, entire cities will be swallowed by darkness, while in others, the lights will flicker with eerie inconsistency, a haunting reminder of how fragile the system has become. Electricity, once taken for granted, will become a luxury, no longer something people can rely on. Hospitals, businesses, and homes will all face the consequences of this unraveling, and many will be left to navigate this new reality on their own. But even more devastating than the physical breakdown will be the emotional collapse that follows. As the structures people have trusted their whole lives begin to fail, so too does their sense of safety. Supply chains will break down, access to food and medicine will dwindle, and the most basic needs will go unmet. This creates the perfect storm for mass trauma. Trust in institutions, in systems, even in each other will erode. People will find themselves overwhelmed by fear, anxiety, and grief, unable to process the magnitude of what is happening. The emotional resilience of entire communities will be tested, and for many, it will begin to unravel. The emotional burden won't be confined to individuals. It will ripple outward, affecting families, communities, and entire regions. As the pressure builds, people will find it harder to cope, and the collective pain will grow heavier. What once held people together, shared compassion, mutual support, will begin to crack under the weight of fear. And in that void, panic and despair will flourish. While all of this is happening in the physical world, a far deeper and more insidious battle is being waged, a spiritual war, mostly invisible, but profoundly real. This isn't just a struggle for survival or resources. It's a war aimed directly at human consciousness itself. As the physical world breaks down, the spiritual realm is under siege by dark forces that thrive in fear and confusion. One of the most dangerous aspects of this spiritual warfare is the rise of entities often referred to as astral parasites. These aren't just metaphors or abstract concepts. They feed on the emotional chaos sweeping through the human population. As fear and despair take hold, these entities grow stronger, latching onto human energy fields and draining vitality from within. They feed off the suffering, amplifying it, intensifying emotional pain, and making it harder for people to find peace or clarity. These parasitic forces work in silence, slipping through the cracks of consciousness, attaching themselves to pain and sorrow. The more people fall into fear, hopelessness, or rage, the more powerful these dark entities become. They don't just take energy. They deepen the emotional collapse, ensuring people remain stuck in cycles of suffering and confusion. It's as if the pain created by the physical collapse opens a door for these energies to enter, trapping people in an ever-deepening spiritual despair. As this psychic warfare spreads, another dangerous phenomenon begins to emerge: the rise of false saviors. These are individuals or movements that step into the chaos, claiming to offer salvation or easy answers. They might appear convincing, charismatic even, promising solutions, safety, and clarity. But beneath their surface lies manipulation. These false messiahs lead people away from authentic spiritual growth and understanding. Instead of guiding others toward truth and inner strength, they peddle illusions, false ideologies, material promises, or hollow spiritual teachings that only serve to confuse and control. In times of desperation, people are vulnerable, and these figures know it. They prey on uncertainty, offering comfort that turns out to be deception. Their guidance pulls people further from their own wisdom, their own inner voice. And while they speak of salvation, their real aim is to distort, to mislead, and to drain. These deceptive figures are just one piece of a larger agenda: to distract, to disempower, and to prevent humanity from reconnecting with its higher self. This spiritual warfare is not random. It's calculated and precise. Alongside these external forces, there is a more intimate attack taking place, one that targets the very foundation of our identity. Memory distortion is becoming more common as people begin to experience strange gaps, shifts, or inconsistencies in their recollections. Memories that once felt solid become cloudy or feel rewritten entirely. This isn't just forgetfulness. It's a subtle, psychological attack designed to destabilize the sense of self. When people no longer trust their own memories, they begin to question everything: what they've lived through, who they are, and what they know to be true. This manipulation serves a greater purpose. By distorting memory, these dark forces aim to sever people from their own history, making it easier to control thoughts, emotions, and actions. When someone feels uncertain about their past, it becomes much harder for them to stand firm in the present. They doubt their instincts, second-guess their choices, and lose confidence in their inner voice. And once that foundation is shaken, people become far more susceptible to outside influence. It's not just about forgetting, it's about disempowering. The spiritual battle doesn't end there. Another devastating consequence is what's known as astral fragmentation. This occurs when individuals begin to feel disconnected from themselves, as if something essential is slipping away. The combined weight of the physical collapse and the ongoing psychic attacks creates a sense of inner disorientation. People may feel like they're floating through life without a clear sense of who they are or where they're going. That core connection to purpose, to soul, begins to fade. In this fragmented state, people are easier to control. They struggle to make decisions, to find meaning, to stand strong in their truth. The forces orchestrating this spiritual war want to keep people in that state, confused, lost, and cut off from their own power. When people are disconnected from their inner light, they become shadows of themselves, vulnerable to manipulation. This fracturing of consciousness is perhaps one of the most heartbreaking effects of this battle, because it targets the soul itself. At the heart of this spiritual war is a focused attack on the heart chakra, the center of love, compassion, and human connection. As the world becomes more chaotic, these forces aim to sever humanity's access to compassion. Without love and empathy, society becomes cold, disconnected, and broken. The warmth that binds people together begins to fade, and communities lose their sense of unity. When compassion disappears, so does our capacity to care for one another. By targeting the heart chakra, the spiritual strength of humanity is drained. People begin to retreat into themselves, consumed by fear, distrust, and isolation. The very essence of what makes us human, our ability to love, to empathize, to unite, is being dismantled. This isn't just a side effect of the collapse. It's part of a deliberate attempt to destroy the energetic fabric that holds humanity together. Without connection, there is no strength. And as people lose touch with compassion, the path toward healing and recovery becomes harder to find. As the world continues to spiral into collapse, physical reality itself begins to shift. The changes go beyond what the eye can see and enter a realm that feels surreal and otherworldly. The skies, once a comforting blue, start to shimmer with unfamiliar colors, hues that seem unnatural, almost like they belong in dreams rather than in waking life. These strange colors appear without warning, rippling through the atmosphere as though reality itself is bending under pressure. It may feel like the sky is mirroring the collective emotional state of humanity, reflecting the rising fear, confusion, and sorrow. The atmosphere becomes distorted, not just visually, but energetically, leaving people with the eerie sense that they're looking at the world through a veil. Ordinary scenes take on an alien quality, and the line between what is real and what is imagined becomes blurred. It becomes impossible to ignore that something massive and mysterious is taking place. Alongside these visual shifts, people begin to notice time behaving in strange, unpredictable ways. Time, which has always felt steady and linear, starts to unravel. For some, hours pass in the blink of an eye, while others feel like moments stretch out into eternity. This sense of temporal distortion creates deep confusion. People struggle to track their days, to organize their thoughts, or even to understand what part of the day they're in. It's as though the clock no longer holds any meaning. This distortion makes the world feel unstable, as if the rules of reality are being rewritten. People might find themselves frozen in a moment, unable to move forward, or pulled rapidly through time, unable to hold on. These shifts are deeply disorienting and contribute to the sense that life is becoming unrecognizable. As if that weren't enough, nature itself begins to spiral into chaos. The weather turns erratic, beyond anything science has been able to predict. Storms appear out of nowhere. Hurricanes form in regions where they were once considered impossible. Temperatures swing wildly, going from heat to cold with no explanation. The natural rhythms people once relied on no longer apply. The Earth seems to be reacting to the collective energy of humanity, mirroring its turmoil and distress in the form of extreme weather. These changes aren't just anomalies. They are signals, signs that the collapse is reaching deeper into the fabric of existence, reshaping the physical and spiritual reality of the world. Everything familiar is shifting, and with that shift comes the realization that humanity is facing something far greater than just material loss. This is a profound transformation, one that challenges the very core of what it means to live, to feel, and to be connected. To self, to others, and to the universe. A powerful force is rising, wild, unpredictable, and beyond the control of human logic or scientific understanding. This energy will move through our world like a storm without warning, leaving many feeling exposed and unprepared. The usual comforts of technology and science will feel inadequate, unable to explain the intensity and unpredictability unfolding around us. It will be as if the Earth itself is responding to deep-rooted instability, echoing the turbulence humanity is experiencing. The planet, once perceived as steady and reliable, will begin to mirror the chaos rising within human systems. It's a wake-up call, reminding us that not even the Earth can remain unchanged in the face of what's coming. As this transformation intensifies, one of the deepest impacts will be on the way we perceive reality itself. The collective perception of the world will begin to break apart. What once felt shared and mutually understood will fragment. People will begin to see and interpret events in vastly different ways. Some will experience reality from one perspective, while others will view the same moments through an entirely different lens. This split in perception will create a strange sense of disconnection between people, even when they are physically side by side. It will feel as if they are living in parallel worlds that no longer align. As this divergence continues, understanding and relating to one another will become more difficult. Confusion will rise, along with feelings of isolation and mistrust. People will begin to doubt not just each other, but even their own senses, unsure of what is real and what is not. It will be a time when many struggle to reconcile what they know with what they're witnessing in the world around them. Amidst all this disarray, something profound will begin to awaken within individuals. These awakenings won't be gentle or gradual. They will crash in like emotional tsunamis, overwhelming and raw. In a single moment, someone may be struck by a powerful awareness, a recognition that the world is changing in fundamental ways and that everything is connected on a level far deeper than they had ever imagined. These realizations will be accompanied by waves of intense emotion, joy, grief, awe, and fear, sweeping through as people try to make sense of what is happening within them and around them. This emotional intensity will shake many to their core as the illusions of the old world begin to dissolve and a more profound truth emerges. In the aftermath of such awakenings, individuals will be left to process the enormity of the spiritual transformation taking place. It will feel both deeply personal and universally shared, as if each person is being called to realign with a greater truth. This transformation will not only appear in the form of external events, it will ripple through the inner world of every person, opening new layers of consciousness and shifting how we experience life itself. And as the old world begins to fall away, Those who survive will find guidance in the final messages shared by the Pleiadians. Their words won't just offer practical direction. They will serve as a spiritual compass for navigating through the profound changes ahead. The first and most essential instruction they give is this: trust your inner vision more than your physical senses. As external events become increasingly unstable and unclear, what you see, hear, or feel with your five senses may not reflect the deeper truth of what's actually occurring. The outer world will become distorted and unreliable, but within you lies a vision that is untouched by the chaos. Your intuition, your inner knowing, your spiritual sight. That inner compass will be your most reliable guide. It's connected to a wisdom that transcends fear, confusion, and illusion. By following it, you'll be able to move through the fog of uncertainty with clarity and direction, even when the world around you seems to be falling apart. The second truth they share is a reminder to stay connected, to anchor yourself in unity. In moments of crisis, the instinct to withdraw and isolate can feel overwhelming. Fear might tempt you to retreat into yourself, to try and survive alone. But isolation is dangerous in these times. It leaves you vulnerable to despair, to the weight of fear that thrives in solitude. The Pleiadians remind us that we are not meant to go through this alone. The strength of the human spirit lies in connection, in our ability to support, uplift, and stand beside one another. True survival, especially in times of collapse, is not about protecting oneself at the expense of others. It's about remembering that we're stronger together. When we connect, we share not just resources, but courage, hope, and purpose. This unity is what will carry us through the darkest moments, and it's what will help us remember who we are when everything else feels like it's slipping away. The third message is a powerful invitation. Begin to embody the energy of the new earth now. Don't wait. Don't tell yourself that you'll rise to meet the new world once it has fully arrived. It is already here. It lives within you. The energy of the new earth is not something waiting far in the future. It's an inner frequency that already exists. It's made of love, compassion, unity, and harmony with both nature and the cosmos. The Pleiadians urge you not to wait for the collapse to end before stepping into this new frequency. The time to shift is now. As you begin to align with this energy, you'll notice that your experiences begin to shift too. You'll attract new connections, opportunities, and insights that reflect this higher way of being. You'll become a lighthouse for others, a steady presence amidst the storm. By choosing to live from this frequency, you become part of the transformation. You help bring the new world into being, not as a distant dream, but as a living, breathing reality. They also offer a critical reminder about fear. Fear will be the final weapon used against humanity. It has always been used to manipulate, to divide, to control. And as the collapse unfolds, fear will grow louder and more intense. It will try to paralyze you, to distort your thoughts and pull you into a spiral of helplessness. But you have a choice. You don't have to let fear rule you. The Pleiadians encourage you to recognize fear for what it is, a tool that loses its power once you stop feeding it. Mastering fear doesn't mean you won't feel it. It means you choose not to be ruled by it. When you face it head-on, when you meet it with courage and awareness, you reclaim your power. You protect your mind, your heart, and your spirit from being overtaken. And in doing so, you create space for something greater: clarity, strength, and resilience. And finally, perhaps the most beautiful message of all: see the collapse not as an ending, but as a sacred beginning. From the outside, it may appear as destruction, the falling of systems, the end of familiar structures. But in truth, it is a necessary unraveling. The old world, with its wounds and limitations, must break apart so that something new can take root. This is not just a fall, it's a rebirth. It's a moment of cosmic renewal, a process of letting go so that something more aligned, more loving, and more conscious can rise in its place.